Hi everyone! So it has been a very long time since I've done a real favorites video, and I wanted to start doing them again for me so that I can look back on them and see what things I was loving, and also because I've had a lot of people request favorites and want me to talk about things that were favorites in the past. A lot of people look back on their favorites a few years later and talk about whether or not it was still their favorite, and it's impossible to do that if one does not do favorites videos. So I wanted to start doing it alongside my no-buy and my budget stuff, just to see what I'm gravitating towards, what I've been playing with. And when I was gathering some of the stuff together, I was like, this is really interesting, what I've rediscovered, and some stuff that I really hadn't paid a lot of attention to for a while. So this is November favorites, but it's also current favorites as well. Some of these things I've been using over the last month, but some of them I've also been using more than just the last month as well. So in no particular order, but I will start with makeup. I have a few miscellaneous things to share as well, because that's always fun. I like to see that stuff in favorites videos myself personally. I like to get to know the person a little bit more. But the first thing is no surprise if you've watched my channel for a couple of years. This is the Road Stripe eyeshadow from Urban Decay. This is something that I fell in love with when I was doing a pan matte palette. When I was panning the Vice LTD palette, I fell in love with it. Wanted them to release it as a single, and they did. And I have massive pan on it, and I love it so much. And I think it's limited edition, but it does still seem to be available as well, so I'm not too concerned. I'm also pretty sure I have another one as well, because I'm pretty sure I did buy a backup, because this is such a great eyeshadow. I go through phases with Road Stripe because it can make looks kind of samey. I will use it as a inner corner highlight and a brow bone highlight, and it looks really cool layered on top of other shadows, and I like that it's a little bit different, and it's just not a standard, you know, silvery white glow, because it has the sort of subtle blue purple reflect, and it looks really cool layered on top of purple and blue and pink obviously, but it also looks very interesting when you have sort of the orangey sunsetty looks as well. And like, this look is very basic. I did just do a get ready with me on it, and I used the Road Stripe shadow on my brow bone and inner corner. And I'm really glad I've rediscovered this, because I hadn't used it for a little while, and it just makes me so happy to use. Like, this is one of my absolute favorite products that I own. Other eyeshadows I've been loving have been from MAC. So this is the Cool Neutrals palette. So it's one of the times 15 palettes. It's pre-assembled. It does very much look the same as the custom palettes, but these ones aren't made so that you can remove the shadows from the pan. I suppose you really could if you really wanted to depot it. I haven't bothered to do so because I like this arrangement. Now obviously I haven't reached for it that much. You can see that there's not a lot of usage on it, but I looked at my eyeshadows. So when I did my palette inventory, I have a lot of similar warm eyeshadows, and I've really been wanting something different. And now some of these shadows aren't pure cool tones, but I think Cool Neutrals is a fairly appropriate name for this assortment. Some of these shadows do lean to the warm side, but they are cooler overall than some of the other shadows out there. Definitely cooler in comparison to my own collection. I haven't really stayed with a particular shadow. I've kind of just mixed and matched a bunch of them. I do really like this shade right here. That is the shade Sun Tweaked, and it's a very pretty soft shade. It barely even shows up like when I swatch it. So I had Road Stripe swatch there, and it barely even shows up, but I like to put that all over my lid. Very simple, and then put a little bit of like this shade here in the outer portion of my eye, the outer crease, the outer corner. I like to put a little bit of this shade here, like in the outer corner, to get a little bit of definition and a very simple look with some brown or black eyeliner and lots of mascara. And I will sometimes use the silver look to highlight if I'm not using Road Stripe, or I will use a mix of this and Road Stripe. So for example, I might use this in my inner corner and then Road Stripe on my brow bone, or vice versa, depending on what I'm going for. But I tend to mix these shadows all together, and I've been playing with this over the last month As I mentioned in my Project Panporn update, because I got burnt out on Sunset and I just really found myself wanting the complete opposite of the Sunset palette, which is this fairly boring neutral palette, but this is exactly what I wanted. This is on my eyes as well. I did use it in the Get Ready With Me, very simple, just used a couple of shadows, and I find them very easy to work with, and they're very subtle. They're not very dramatic, like you're not getting a whole ton of pigment compared to some other shadows, but I like that. I like that it's more subtle. I like that I can build it up if I want to, but I tend to kind of keep it on the lesser side these days. I'm going to stick with the MAC universe for a little while. I wanted to mention the MAC lip liners, which I've rediscovered recently, shopping my stash. So no shade in particular. These are just the ones that I had out. Boldly Bare, Stone, Plum, Spice, and Oak. So mostly cooler tones, some various shades of browns and beiges there. I am wearing two on my lips right now, also from the Get Ready With Me. Sorry guys, I will link it, or you can just click on my channel and it should be there. But I did use Oak and Spice layered. I've been loving these lip liners again. I've been freshly sharpening them and just kind of overlining my lips just a little bit, putting some lip liner or lip balm on top of it, and that's it. And I like the very neutral eye and the neutral lip, and I find that if I do too heavy on the eye and heavy on the lip, like this really isn't that heavy on the lip, but I've been very much a lip balm, sheer lip gloss person. I haven't really worn any crazy lip colors, so the lip liner is about as crazy as I want it to go lately, and I think that it kind of balances itself out pretty nicely. So again, no particular shade, but just the lip crayons, the lip pencils again are something that I've rediscovered, and fortunately I have a ton of them because I did go through a phase where I really liked them, and I'm just really glad I'm back there again. They're so fun to use, they're so easy to use, and I like that I can create different lip colors from stuff that I already have, because if I'm looking for something in particular, like a certain tone, if the lipstick isn't quite right, I can tweak it with the lip liner. Like I've been either using the lip liner as a base, you know, overlining my lips, but then if I already have lipstick on, I will go over top of it with the lip liner, or like sort of shade the corners or just get a little bit of definition. But it's been fun to play with the liners, and I'm wondering how I will feel about these guys in a year. And one more MAC product. This is the Studio Fix 24-Hour Smooth Wear Concealer. This guy lives in my purse. This is one of the few things that I bring with me to do touch-ups with, because I have a few little spots that sometimes it wears away, especially on my chin area, because resting my hand on my chin or just touching my face. So I will touch up with a little bit of this concealer and just sort of blend it in, and it's so wonderful. It's so easy to apply this. It's just the standard concealer with a doe foot applicator, and it's nothing special, but I just find that it's really easy to use, and it just makes me feel more confident wherever I am. If I notice a little bit of redness on my face, if it wasn't there in the morning, or if it just peeked out a little bit more, it's very easy to cover that up, and it's very smooth. It lasts for a very long time, and I don't have to worry about it. It does say 24-hour wear, which I don't really believe that claim is accurate, but also I notice more wear on the places on my face that I tend to touch or other people tend to touch. So there's that. It does tend to come off if you are touching, and it will kind of transfer a little bit onto like fabric and stuff if you have your face on somebody's shirt, which I sometimes do. So it will transfer, but I tried just to use a little tiny bit, and a little goes a long way. And this has lived in my purse for the last couple of months, and I just wanted to give it a little shout out. Like, I'm rediscovering a lot of my MAC products. A lot of this stuff is rediscovered favorites, or it's all rediscovered favorites of my makeup stuff. None of this stuff is new or even new to me. This is all stuff that I've had for months, if not years. The Becca Rose Quartz Highlighter. So this was my white whale product. I talked about it, I cried about it, so I think I might have actually shed a tear. I wanted it so badly. It was limited edition, I couldn't get it. I sobbed, I begged Becca, I was like tweeting them constantly, being like, please, 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 please bring this back. And then they brought it back, and I bought it immediately. And then I was like, why did I want this again? And then I didn't touch it. But then lately I've been using it quite a bit, and you can see I have quite a bit of pan a lot of pan on this. This is like my travel highlighter when I stay over at my boyfriend's place. This is the highlighter that goes with me. It's very neutral, very flattering, very easy to apply, and very quick. And I don't know why I didn't love it as much. I think maybe I just built it up so much. Like it's very subtle. You can build it up, but I like that it's subtle, and I've been using it on my cheeks, and then I kind of like highlight down like the center of my face. And I don't know why I started doing that. I was never a nose highlighter. I was never a like Cupid's bow, chin, forehead highlighter person, but I just started applying it like right down my face. So I already have a highlighter on it. It's not this one, but like just straight down my face. I can't explain it. I just like cheekbones, highlights, right down my face. I've just been loving it. I also started using this brush to highlight. I'm going to do a whole video on the couple brushes I like and my top favorite highlighters, because pretty much all of my favorite highlighters have massive pan on them, or they are very, very well loved and well used. So I thought it might be fun to talk about those a little bit more, but I'm really glad I've rediscovered this one. I really like the Becca Highlighter formula. It's very smooth. That's a word that's going to come up a few times, but it's not very chunky and it's not super glittery. There definitely is some fine glitter in there, but you can definitely sheer out the highlight a little bit so that it looks more like light reflective. It's not a your skin but better kind of highlighter, definitely not, and certainly not in that particular shade, but I definitely feel like it gives you that luminosity without just being like chunky streaks of glitter, you know, like when you have those sort of cheaper highlights that are just mostly glitter and then you get in the sun and it's just like glitter everywhere. I like that, but I also like this one because it just feels a little bit more natural with some of the looks that I've been doing. And the last product I'm going to mention is another one from Urban Decay. So this is Becca, MAC, and Urban Decay. These are three of my all-time favorite brands, so I'm not surprised that these have kind of come back up again. This is something I never used, and it was actually tucked away in a separate area away from other makeup and more with skincare, because it's the Meltdown Makeup Remover Lip Oil Stick. So I actually used this when I had put on a thick liquid lipstick. I was like, okay, we're gonna try this finally, because this had been passed on to me from my sister, and I was like, I'm gonna try this and see if it actually works to remove this liquid lipstick, and it did not. It really did nothing, but I liked how moisturizing it was, so I started just using it as a lip balm. And this has also lived in my purse, and I really like layering this with the MAC lip liners as well. It's just a clear stick of lip oil. That's all it is. Like, it really doesn't show up at all, and it makes my lips feel really good. It does have a little bit of that oily scent, which can be a little off-putting at first. Like when you first go to smell it, it's like, oh, this is oil, why am I putting this on my lips? But then you put it on your lips and your lips feel very hydrated. My lips feel very hydrated, and I just enjoy using it as a lip balm. So that's been a new rediscovered thing that I've been liking lately. And it's just very simple, basic product, but like those are sort of the foundation. Those products that I mentioned are very much the foundation of my everyday makeup these days. The other things change a little bit, but I think the thing that changes the most is probably blush color, but this is like the basic foundation. Very, very basic, very much this without the lashes. I apologize for my nails, by the way. I was festive, painted them red, put little Christmas decals on it, and they're already starting to chip away, and I am just trying to live with it for a little bit longer before I usually do my standard Christmas nails, which are like teal and gold. No surprise. I want to share something that's a little bit different for me. This is something that I did receive. So this is a hair product. This is a straightening brush. I'm just removing some hair from it, sorry. So I have a wig on right now, but I did do a little quick demo showing you what it looks like with my like regular hair, like when I take my hair out, and you can see kind of how crazy my hair looks and just how quick and effective this is. It's a hair straightener in a brush form, and I'd heard about these before. So this was sent to me by a company called Wazor, W-A-Z-O-R. ZOR. And this isn't sponsored or anything, but they did send me the product. And I thought I'd try it out. I was like, I don't do hair tutorials, my hair is kind of crap. If you've seen my channel at all, you know my hair is not great. And I was like, well, I'll give it a shot because I don't currently have a hair straightener. I have a very old one from when I was in like junior high that has like the different plates, like the crimping plate. That's how old I am. It has the crimping plate on it and the straightening plate, but it's very old and doesn't get very hot and doesn't really work very well. And I have a little baby mini straightener that I think is in my storage unit, but I have a couple curling irons but no other straighteners. So I was like, you know what, I'll try it and see if I can do anything with my hair, maybe make it look a little bit more presentable, because I've been struggling with my hair. People have been saying that it looks like I have curly hair, and sometimes it feels that way, and I've been trying to like braid my hair so that I get a little bit more wave out of it, and sometimes I just get tired of like the frizzy mess. And so I thought I'd try this, and I've been using it over the last couple weeks, and I was shocked that it actually worked so well and so quickly. Obviously I use a heat protectant spray on my hair, and I would not do this very often, but I loved how effective this was, and I just tend to pull my hair up in a ponytail, but like the frizzy mess sometimes was too much for me. And then I was even wearing my hair down. Because my hair is pretty thin, I tend to like toss it to one side. And what sealed the deal for me was when I went to work with my hair straightened with this and just kind of tossed to the side, and everyone was complimenting me on my hair. They're like, your hair looks so good today. Your hair looks like it's growing. Your hair looks so much healthier. And all I did was use this. I was like, that's the difference it makes, because it made my hair just look a little bit more shiny. In the video I took, you can't really tell that much. Like I find that with the camera and the studio lights and everything, like every tiny little flaw is emphasized. But in day-to-day life, it seems to work pretty well for me. I will have the link to this down below. I've been thinking about just doing affiliate links, like the magic links. I don't really want to do it because I feel like once you kind of cross that line, there's no going back, but I could use the little bit of extra money that could potentially come that way, and I've had a few people recommend, like other creators recommend that I maybe do that. So maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I do have an Amazon link for this anyway. This is actually on the Amazon Canada website for $35, so the price also sold me as well, because sometimes I've gotten offers for hair straighteners and other hair products and stuff, and it's like $200 for a hair straightener, and who's paying that? Really? But $35 is definitely something that I would actually pay for this product, especially because it works so well. And like the compliments, my hair looking good, feeling good. Again, not something I would do too often because I'm trying to rehab my hair, but for those occasions where I'm just tired of like that frizzy nonsense, this works really well. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, and I'm very thankful to Wazer for sending me this, because it really has made a huge difference in my hair and my hair confidence in day-to-day and with my work and stuff, and that's very important. Okay, we are almost done. I want to share some fun stuff. I want to share this shirt. So I've already worn this in a video, and of course I had to share the shirt. So this is a Fleetwood Mac shirt. So it just says Fleetwood Mac on the front and the back. So I love that the back has the Fleetwood Mac penguin logo on it. This is from American Eagle. This was one of the purchases I made really very quickly, and it's actually like licensed by Fleetwood Mac. Like it actually, on the tag in the back, it's actually like Fleetwood Mac legit merchandise, because I've definitely seen Fleetwood Mac stuff at stores before that hasn't been legit, but this is legit, and I was so happy to see it there. And I didn't stumble across it accidentally. One of the Facebook groups I'm part of that is one of the Fleetwood Mac crazy fan ones, somebody posted it, and I swear the second this woman posted the link to it, I was right on the site and I bought it. That quick. Worth it. I've already worn it quite a few times. I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this. I have a lot of like oversized concert tees, but I really like how this one is, and it's very like loose fitting and casual, but like in a very cool way. Pairs really nicely with jeans, which I just started wearing. I know it's crazy. I'm embracing my Lorelai Gilmore a little bit more and trying to like rock her kind of style, and I've been loving it, and I really love that shirt, so I really wanted to shout that out. Of course, it's a Fleetwood Mac reference. I have a few songs that I've been loving that I wanted to mention. Most of these are new songs, not old songs. Don't worry, I'm not gonna just give you a whole list of Fleetwood Mac recommendations, although I can totally do that anytime, any day. But this is new stuff I've been listening to. Kesha's Raising Hell is such a fun pump up song. I didn't listen to any music before I filmed today. I was kind of lonely, and so I was watching a very old Jaclyn Hill favorites video, of all things. But I don't know, sometimes I just like watching those like old videos from a few years ago of like Chatty GRWM and stuff that's sort of like just calming. But Kesha's Raising Hell, I have such a soft spot for Kesha since her last album, and I love that album, and I just love her, and this song is so fun. It just really feels like old school Kesha, which I was never into, but for some reason I really like that. And have you guys seen Kesha's makeup line? I would totally be all over that. If this was 2017, I'd buy the whole thing. Another song I've been loving recently is Walk Across the Water by the Black Keys. I went through a phase of really loving their new album and then kind of fell out of it again, but now this song I've been playing it on repeat. I tend to be really obsessive when I listen to music, and I don't listen to something once or twice. I tend to listen to it on a loop. And Kesha's Raising Hell was like 20 times in one day. And then Walk Across the Water, I usually listen to it like 2 or 3 times in a row. It's just such a good song. I highly recommend listening to the whole album, but definitely that song. Taylor Swift's Cornelia Street has really made the top of my list. I really love the Lover album. I listened to it quite a bit when it came out. It has some very special ties to me. It was a very emotional time in my life when the album came out, and I listened to it for like the entire weekend, and there was a lot of tears and a lot of emotions, and I couldn't relate to a lot of the songs. And then a few days later my life changed, and I started listening to all the songs in a very different way. And I feel like Taylor's music has always been there for me when stuff is going on. Those sort of like key peak life-changing moments, there's always been Taylor Swift music. Like when it's heartbreak or falling in love, Taylor Swift's music's been there, and Cornelia Street has been that song for me recently. And then there's a slightly older song, and by slightly older I mean it's from 2018 instead of 2019. It's from a little Canadian indie group called Postdata, and the song is called Black Cloud, and it has this mix that I really love in songs, and I rarely find it. I like the sort of upbeat tempo with the darker subject matter. It really gets stuck in my head, and even when I'm dealing with sort of the dark place, the cliched dark place, sometimes I don't want to just listen to sad, slow songs. Sometimes I want to listen to something that's a little bit more upbeat, but still the subject matter is darker, and that's what Black Cloud is, and I've been listening to that one again on a loop. And then, okay, so this is very new, but I wanted to mention The Weeknd's new song Blinding Lights, because I never would have listened to it. My friend Ryan recommended it. He was just like, sent me a message, and he's like, listen to this song, and I did, and I loved it. It has some really cool 80s references in the song. Music-wise, definitely worth a listen. I've never been a fan of The Weeknd, never would have considered the song before, so if you're not really a fan of like current music and you're not a fan of The Weeknd, still listen to the song. Listen to it a little bit, like give it a chance. I'm so glad I did, because I've been listening to that song quite a bit. It's just so catchy, and it's just very unexpected. I wasn't expecting to really like something so popular. I know, I'm such a hipster, but I really do enjoy that song quite a bit. It's very new. But that is the fun of music, and I guess I can also mention Apple Music, because I've been loving that one. It's not new to me by any means, but I've been loving exploring the new music, and they do sort of curated new music for you on Friday, which isn't necessarily new music. Some stuff might be a little bit older, but they do have like an updated daily new music playlist, and I like to go through that and see new things I might discover that I love, and I found a lot of great songs and new artists that way, and just exploring different playlists on there has been really great. And then speaking of music, and kind of tying in with the whole like Apple stuff, I'm sorry. I got the completely wireless Beat headphones. So I had Beats before, and they were the wired ones. They still were the Bluetooth ones, but like the whole cord was completely frayed. I had to re-glue parts of the earbuds, like the earphones. I kept losing the actual earbuds. I had to replace them so many times. They were just falling apart. It was such a mess. They were just gross. They were just hanging on by a thread, and I just knew that they were gonna die any day. So when there was a sale, I picked up the completely wireless Beats, and these things have made my life as someone who loves music. Like, these are completely wireless. These are crazy expensive, but I plan on having them for a long time. And I like that I can control things with just the button on the side. I can start my music, I can pause my music, I can double tap to move on to the next song. You can, if you depending on where you hit, you can also bring the song backwards. Like, you can go back through your playlist, or then you can move forward. It has made such a huge difference for me as someone who like loves listening to music. I do have to have the case with me all of the time, but you actually charge them through the case as well, which is crazy. Like you put them in the case and then you plug the case in, but then the case charges and the phone and the earbuds themselves charge. So even when you have them out here, then you still have charge in here, so you don't have to have this plugged in all the time. It's just been so good. It's been so helpful, and I like this little case, and I'm so glad for these. So as a music person, it was an investment for sure, but something that's very worth it because I listen to music so much, and even just watch YouTube videos and Netflix and stuff with my phone, and it's just nice to have these two things together. So I just wanted to mention that. That was sort of like my big treat purchase of the month, and it has served me well so far, and I'm looking forward to making those last for a very, very long time. So anyway, that is everything for my favorites. Let me know what you've been loving over this last month, or even over the last couple of months. I'm hoping to do this every month because I'd really like to reflect like the end of next year what my favorite things were over the year, and then be able to look forward or look back. I'm looking forward to looking back, to quote a Mandy Moore song. Wow. Mandy Moore also has some great new music that I'm listening to. Anyway, I'm looking forward to looking back at the things that I've been loving. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I've been trying to come back to YouTube, and I've been loving YouTube again. YouTube has definitely been one of my favorite things over this last month, and you guys, because you guys have all been so nice, so sweet, and so supportive. I really love talking with you guys. I love hearing your opinions. I love getting your feedback. It's been so helpful for me, and I'm just very grateful that you guys have been so kind, because I was nervous about coming back. I wasn't sure kind of what the reaction was going to be, and I've noticed, you know, the decrease in subscribers and the decrease in views, but trying to ignore that, trying to not focus on the numbers, and trying to ignore people who are trying to tell me to focus on the numbers, because I just want to have fun with it, and it has been so much fun. So thank you for being a huge part of that, for watching all the way to the end. I'm very, very grateful. So anyway, I hope we get a chance to chat soon, and I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.